Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. I'm gonna start shortly. Just waiting for some people to join and also checking that my YouTube live feed works. I hope it works. Hi, everyone. If you're just joining, we're gonna start soon. I'm just setting up and waiting for people to join. If you guys are joining on my Instagram, it's gonna be a little bit cropped, the video. So if you go to my stories, you can see there is a YouTube link. You can join from there and you'll get the full view. Hi guys, I'm just waiting for a couple more people to join and starting soon. Okay, let's see how Instagram is cropping my video today. So I have to make sure everything is centered, like the main information is centered. But, oh, there we go. Now I can see my Instagram feed. It's always a little bit delayed. Okay, so today, welcome guys. Today I am gonna talk a little bit about my design process. I have this really cool tie-dye fabric that's like, it's more of a tulle than a mesh. It's a netting, can you see? But it does have some stretch this way. And then like absolutely zero stretch this way. So I'm gonna maybe think about doing a little creative exercise, make a bra out, or a bra and panty, or just a panty, who knows? We'll see what happens. But I'm gonna try to make something with this today, or at least design. I can talk about kind of the things I think about when I'm starting a new project. So how is everyone doing? Thank you for joining. Let me know if you cannot hear me, or if the music's too loud, or if my camera is off center. And if you are joining on YouTube, if you're joining on Instagram, you will get a cropped view, which is just the middle section. If you are joining on YouTube, you'll see the 2-cam view with my face explaining all the stuff, plus my table view. Okay. So let's see. Whenever I start a new project, I kind of like to, well, the first thing I do is look at the fabric itself and see what kind of thing I can make. You know, some fabrics have stretch, so you can pretty much make anything with it. Some fabrics don't have stretch, so you'd have to consider how you would make, for example, a panty with that when it needs to be able to stretch over your hips. So this one, as I mentioned a second ago, it does have some stretch. So I think we can do a panty with it too. Bras require, it's not necessary that they have stretch for bras because basically you can adjust it in the back, right? A panty, unless it has adjustable sides, is a little bit harder to get away with doing a non-stretch fabric. So I like to use stretch for bottoms almost always, except for when there's a lace that's too pretty to pass up and you're like, I have to make a set out of this, then I'll figure out a way to make a panty with it. Okay, cool. Thanks for tuning in, guys. How are you all? Where's everyone tuning in from? Happy Friday. Nice. Okay. Hi you guys. Okay, I have my sketchbooks out also, but you know, I barely ever sketch actually when I am doing a new design. It's more just to figure out construction issues. I'm like, or you know, like technical things. I have to kind of map it out, so I'll use a sketchbook to do that. But in general, I like to just drape. So these are two cuts of this similar tie-dye. Let me put like a white fabric underneath so you can see better. Sorry for the wrinkles. And then maybe I'll turn on my light also. Just 1 second, guys. Oh, the wrinkles don't look good in the light. It's actually hard to see. Here you can kind of tell though. Two different. Here. Okay, this is the right side of the fabric. This is the wrong side. Sometimes it's hard to determine that, especially if it's a lace, because the texture almost looks exactly the same, but I'll show you actually how it looks different with the lace. So with the lace, like this, for example, I see, yeah, okay. I don't know how much of it you can pick up, but this side has these, a little bit of kind of more like ridges from the pattern of the threads, whereas this side feels flat. You can also see if the thread is too fine and you can't see those ridges, then look for where the pattern ends. There's usually a, what do you call, little like kind of like clumps of thread. It's basically like where the thread ends. So for example, this here, these bits, this bit, that will only appear on the right side of the fabric of the lace. This side it's hidden. And then, so going back to my tie-dye, this one, it's a print, so it's actually much easier to tell which side is the correct side. When we talk about correct or right side of the fabric, we're talking about the surface. You call the inside of your fabric the wrong side, and then the outside is called the right side. Okay, so yes, so with this one it's a print, and you can tell just one side the color reads stronger and the other side it's a little more faded. So for this one, this is the right side, I believe, And this fabric actually is my friend Erica. I don't know if she's here, but my dear friend Erica gave me these fabrics. She lives and works in New York and just sent me like a ton of scrap fabric. So thank you so much for your donations. And I actually wanted to make a fun little bra top with this. Let me pull up my dress form. Let's see. Am I in view here? I noticed from yesterday's live stream that I think I was like off center for most of the demonstration on the dress form. And the first thing I like to do when I'm working with a new fabric, you know, you need to see what the capabilities are of it. So like I said, with the stretch going this way, I would use that around the circumference this way, around the bust. Other properties of this fabric is that it's quite sheer. So I would either need a lining, looking at my mic like it's the camera, I would either need a lining or, hold on, I realized I forgot to switch my camera view. Let's go like this so you can see. Okay, for those of you on Instagram, you missed kind of the beginning. I'm gonna just re-show you. Oh, hello, Gucci Malucci. I am actually just live on Insta and YouTube today. I'm testing out still which platforms are better for me and my audience. So today I'm trying it out on YouTube. Thanks for asking. Yeah, so I'm gonna try to catch as many comments as I can, but sometimes they, the notifications of like when people join make the comments disappear too quickly. Okay, so with this one, I was just explaining how I like to look at the characteristics of the fabric. So this one stretches this way, So I would wrap this around the bust if I were to do anything. I think it actually would even be a really cute little like 90s cinched top, kind of like a little tube top. That would be freaking cute. Okay, I like still studying the characteristics of the fabric because it's sheer. Like I was saying, I need a lining, or you can do something like cinching it together so it has kind of looks like a little more coverage, basically just from the fabric layering on top of itself. You know, you can, I think that would, especially with a pattern like this tie-dye and some of the dark bits, I think it would cover nipples all right and actually be okay to wear. But yeah, let's see what we can do with this. I think I may have explained this on a test stream before, but I once heard, you know, Emmanuel Ungaro say that the design always starts from the shoulders because that's where the fabric kind of falls from on a woman's body. So I always pin up there and see what kind of lines I can create with this. And I'll tell you, what I like about this fabric is when it gets kind of more layered and saturated. So I think I'm gonna do something with either pleats or gathers. And I'm gonna need way more pins. This box of pins. And yeah, okay. This box of pins will do. Yeah, okay, so I like the pleating, but you know, I'm not gonna keep the shoulder's so thick, I don't think. Because the nature of this fabric is that it's quite light and airy and delicate looking, so I think I want to honor that in the shape and, you know, the shape and the silhouette of the bra. So I would probably make it into cups here, little triangle cups. That actually would be quite cute. So if you're just joining today, I am going through kind of my design process of creating a new piece. You know, I like to work from the textile first, always. I rarely have like a design in my head unless I'm like, I need it for a practical reason, like, you know, for a certain occasion. But I'm obsessed with textiles. I mean, they're just so pretty. So I always like to start with the fabric and look at it, study it, ask it what it wants to become, and then I'll try to make something that fits and honors the fabric, because the fun thing about my work is that I get to use these like gorgeous laces and silks and tools, and they're just so pretty. So I want to, like I said, honor the fabric, honor the textile, make something that's actually kind of cool, and make something that'll represent the textile in the best way possible. So right now I'm just kind of playing around with the fabric. I'm not yet gonna like cut from this, or this isn't me draping. I'm just testing to see what it can do. So I really like how pleating looks with this. This is kind of a neat detail, like a flutter sleeve, but I think it makes it look a little too juvenile. So especially in a tie-dye. So I would chop that off and add like thin straps, maybe something strappy. But let's see. Now that I have a better understanding of what the fabric can do, I'm gonna just jot down a couple ideas and see if I'm inspired to make a design. But let me switch my camera view real quick. When there's 1,000 of your little sketches, it looks like the most professional, amazing thing ever. So don't worry if you feel like your janky little sketches are like are child's drawings. It's okay. I think consistency is the main important factor, actually. Oh, thank you. Someone says the YouTube view is great. Yes, I think the YouTube view is better, to be honest. So if you guys, oh, the sound is suddenly very low. Hold on. Okay. Hello. Can you guys hear me? Bear with me 1 second while I fix my mic. Okay, I think this should be better. Sorry if I shouted in your ear just now. Okay, let me know if this sounds better now. And thank you guys for joining. Hi everyone. I'm also still just getting used to all this streaming stuff. It's like, it's a lot of technical computer things, connecting things to work out. Okay, great. I'm happy it's working now. Thank you. Yes, if you're joining on YouTube, I saw a comment that said there was no sound. So I've fixed that now. I hope it sounds better. Let me know on YouTube if you don't hear it. Okay. So where were we? I was just going through some of my favorite sketching illustration books. And talking about how it doesn't matter if your sketches look janky, you can just, if they're consistent, it's going to be beautiful as a collection. But here are some very professional looking sketches. This is my teacher in college, Nancy Riegelman. Do you guys know Nancy Riegelman? She was one of our sketching illustrator teachers in at the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising in Los Angeles. And she had the first edition book called 9 Heads, where it teaches you how to draw croquis. A croquis is a fashion illustration. So, you know, like a full body is a croquis. Or I guess maybe, is croquis just referring to the blank, you know, undressed woman? Yes, that's, I think, correct. So it's like your template. These are the croquis. And you call it 9 heads because in fashion, you know, everyone's tall with long legs. So the height of the person should be 9 heads of length. And that's how I learned proportion in sketching. Anyway, my sketches aren't going to look like this, but I wanted to show you, you know, what all there was. Okay, someone says the sound is better. Thank you. And here, let's switch back my camera view real quick so I can show you where we left off with. Here we go. Okay, so if you're just joining, I'm kind of working with this tie-dye tulle mesh fabric that's very sheer and light and airy, and seeing what it can do. What I've learned so far is that I like that it looks beautiful when it's ruched and kind of gathered like this. The tie-dye effect is like kind of sparse, and it adds some nipple coverage here if you need, without adding a lining, because a lining I think will make it a little bit bulkier. And also, come on, aren't people okay with nipples these days anyway? So, you know, it depends where you are probably in the world, but I'm into the sheer trend. So let's keep it sheer. I'm gonna remove this from the form and bring it to the table now. So just give me 1 second while I pin these pleats together. It's not the most beautiful pleat job. And you can, here, I'll switch the view so you can watch me struggle. You can watch me struggle removing this. Okay. I'm just tacking down the pleats so we can look at this when I pull it to the table. Okay, here we go. Almost a pretty face mask. Okay, how cool this fabric is. Okay. Let's see if I can sketch something. I'm like, what was in my last sketch? My sketchbook. Embarrassed to show you my bad sketches. Okay, let's start here. This is a nice sketchbook that I got in Berlin, actually. It's for graffiti artists, so it's, you know, like a little black book. So all the pages lay flat open instead of kind of, you know, like how a book is bound, where the seam is curved like that. This one lays flat. Or ones like this where it's, you know, a ring binder is nice and handy. Especially for traveling is what I like about it. Grabbing some pens, I'll be right back. You can study this page of women's hair. Let's look at something more fun. Sweaters. I'll be right back. Hi guys. I'm just getting situated here. Sorry while I adjust my mic. Okay. I hope that wasn't too loud. How's everyone doing today? I am happy I got to sneak in one more live stream today because I'm actually going to be out of town from tomorrow for a very last minute trip to go see some family. So I'm going to be off. I won't be streaming for a couple weeks after this. So I wanted to just kind of get my stuff sorted and make sure it was all working properly, which seems like it is today. Let me know if there's any issues with sound or video feed. Okay. So this beautiful fabric can be ruched, it can be pleated, it can be gathered, and to give you an idea of what the difference of each of those techniques are, ruching is when it's basically gathering, but it's when you have a section of your garment, like this panty for example, gathered like this. And how I achieve this is with a piece of elastic that is shorter than the length of the fabric, and you stretch the elastic as you're stitching it down to the fabric, and what happens is it gathers and cinches the fabric like so. See, so when you stretch it, this is how it was sewn, and then when you let go, it gathers back up. So I could do something similar with this guy, stitching a piece of elastic onto it. And I'll show you on the form in a minute how that concept actually works. So pleating, so that was ruching. So, and then the other thing that you can do is pleating, which is, you see how the pins are stuck like this? It's, you're just folding a tiny piece onto itself. Like this. Let's do this on the white so you can see. So pleating goes like this. And then you tack it down onto the seam. And then you pull another. And then you pull another. And then you pull another. Does that work? Yeah. And that's how you pleat something. You can tack it down on both ends, so this side and this side, to get kind of a full length pleat, or you can tack it on just one side, which is usually how it's done on bras, let's say, where you have pleating at the curvy part of your boobs, so that's under your boobs, and then you stitch it down, and this end is left open, to basically add 3-dimension, you know, like if your boob was in here, it would add 3-dimension to the cup. So how I had it draped on the form, I'm like already apologizing about my sketches, but I just gave the whole spiel about it doesn't matter if your sketches look janky. Okay, let's see. What did I have on there? I basically had pleating going from here. Oh, actually I remember. It was like this. Oop. Pleating going from here. This would be the underbust. Could be pleated from here. Looks like it says pleats. Okay. And maybe if you wanted to cinch it here and make a, actually this could be kind of cute too. So keeping along with the pleating theme, so let me kind of, I'm noticing that it's kind of hard to see this. Let me use a thicker pen. Or maybe we can zoom actually. I have one more camera view with this fancy setup. Does telephoto help? Oh yeah. Okay. It'll change in a second, okay. I'm just adding a little bit of texture. Not that I need to. And so this one would be, if I were to redraw it kind of, you know, prettier, it would be wide straps with some kind of something to cinch at the top of the cup. The bottom, or the cup part, would be a triangle. I like to keep this space gap in the center all the time because let me show you. So I always like to put a little gap right here in the center of your bras, like, yeah, this is what I'm working on right now. So for fuller busts, I think it's nice when it touches because, you know, there you want this area to have coverage too, but with small boobs that sit a little bit further apart, I always have a little gap right in the middle, so you know, the center of your chest shows nicely without it feeling overcrowded by fabric. Okay, so I'll leave a little gap here. I think what I actually kind of wanted to go for though is something more like a minimal design, but I like the pleating, so let's try if it was maybe something with where it pleats from the center out. So this would be kind of a bandeau shaped bra. You can add little thin straps to it. And basically all it would be, actually, it could be kind of cute with a little gathered edge there. A ruffle, let's say. No, okay, I said minimal. This is the opposite of minimal. Basic triangle with pleated cups. And that looks like a little bikini kind of. And I love these little bra tops that can adjust like a bikini. You can, you know, move the cups over to wherever you need it to sit. But let's add a little tiny bit more structure. I think it'll be fun to do something interesting with the strapping. And let me show you some of the trims I want to use for this one. Just zooming out real quick. Okay. Okay, I have these elastics from Shindo. My favorite elastic supplier. They're great. They sent me some samples. So these are a fold over elastic. It's for here doing edges like this. And you use a zigzag stitch. Oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah, okay. So you would use a zigzag stitch and fold this over, hence the name fold over elastic, to bind an edge. It's like, you know, it looks like piping, but it's a different technique than piping. And it's how these are made, actually. My little thong that has the fold over elastic. So it's beautifully finished with this elastic on both sides. And also it actually is an easier way to finish, I think, some types of garments using fold over elastic, because the other way to do it would be to use a this is a picot edge elastic, which is has these little scallops, but you need to put 2 rows of stitching into it. One to attach the trim to the garment, right side to right side, and then you flip it over and then do another stitch, and you get this beautiful little trim edge like this, you know. And actually that's also quite pretty. So maybe I want to do something with a picot edge elastic instead of a fold over. The thing that the fold over adds is if you wanted it as a design feature, it can be a nice pop of color that borders your entire garment. But if you wanted something that looked a little bit more seamless and didn't have like these color blocked lines going across your design, then something more hidden like a picot edge might be the way to go. And I actually like, right now I'm leaning towards the picot. The other quality difference is that, you know, the picot edge kind of gives a little bit more of a feminine feel with this little scallop, and the fold over might look a little more sporty. But I do like the idea of, you know, a pop of color. It could be blue. No, it's too baby looking. Let's try. And I'm just speaking my thoughts as I'm looking at the fabrics and trims. This is how I do my selecting process. Here's a light pink. Okay, maybe. This blue though. I think this is actually, it's kind of like a periwinkle blue. It's a nice contrast. But I'm still, like I said, I think I'm still leaning picot. Okay, so back to the little design. Let's try it with I'm gonna zoom in again. One sec. Hello everyone, how's it going? Oh, actually I wanted to show you on my Insta stories I posted that I was going to show you this Marilyn Monroe neckline. It was going to be a topic of discussion, so let me grab my pattern piece about that in a second. Just doing a quick sketch in my head real quick. So the other thing to consider about this bra is how is it going to close. If we talk about closures, God, this is a terrible sketch. If we talk about closures, you know, you're wondering, is it going to have a hook and eye, like a standard bra closure? Is it going to be a G hook? Will it be a magnet? Let me show you the options. This is a G hook. This one. This is a magnet closure. This is a hook and eye bra closure, which it comes in all all kinds of shapes, sizes, colors. This is a pretty standard one. So I have to consider what kind of closure am I going to put on this guy. Do I want it to be hidden in the back? Do I want it to be like a feature, you know, on the front? No, thank you so much. I see a sweet comment that says, so fun to see your creative process. Thanks for tuning in. I'm happy to share actually my process, because it's so you know, I'm always wondering, what is a designer thinking as they're making their design decisions? And I often get stuck in designer's block too. I've definitely experienced that. So just hearing how other people work through it is fascinating to me. Plus also it's like, it's just insight into what's inside the designer's mind, and also gives you an idea of where they come from and the references that they pull from, which adds to, you know, the ethos of the artist. So I love sharing my process, and I love hearing about others too. So with this one, we're talking about closures. I think, to be honest, I think I want it to be as minimal as possible. So let's try like a small G hook. This one is 5/8 inch. No, 3/4 inch, sorry. Yeah, this one's a 3/4 inch G hook. I think I'm looking for something more like this one. Okay, they're just two stuck together. Something more like these ones. And you can tell they're slightly different shape. I think this one is actually going to be easier to hook with. Look how easy to grab and giant this hook is for a little thing. Oops. Versus this one might be a little more for nimble fingers. You know? So my husband, who's also a designer, is always saying, he's a graphic designer and a user experience designer, but he always says about designing for yourself in the future. Like, look at everything like you're designing for your elderly self, which I thought is a great concept, you know. So it's like how to make things easy for yourself, and I'm thinking on that with the closures. I think my future me would appreciate this one more. Okay, so now that I have an idea, especially with this light fabric. I want something that's not gonna weigh it down so heavily. So let's go with a small hook closure. So with that determined, it kind of tells you what the strapping has to be like. And I'm thinking, what are my straps gonna be made out of? Let me grab a couple options. Two double looking. It's more like the exact color, but I don't know. It could be fun to do. Could be fun to do a contrast, yeah. This blue one, which is this, is it the same? Are they the same? Color 90, yes. You see how actually the color of this trim, it's the same dye, but it can read a little bit differently depending on how the trim itself is woven. You know? So these, actually, they look pretty close. To me, this one looks slightly darker, but I think it's just that this one's picking up more shine. Reflection, yeah. Blue's kind of nice with this tie-dye stuff. So maybe we go with that. As you can tell, my design process is very non-linear. I'm like, okay, the cup is one shape. Let me think on that and then go to the next thing. And I pick my trim and closure, and then I come back to the cup shape. Cool. Let's see, we can even mix some colors here. We'll determine that in a little bit as we move along. Okay, so what I know so far, I want it to have a small closure. I want to use maybe these trims. I want to have some pleating. Writing this down. Pleating, small closure, thin straps, minimal feel. You know, I want the fabric to speak for itself. So I don't want to overcomplicate the design. But let me just examine one thing. I wanted to talk about this Marilyn top. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie 7 Year Itch with Marilyn Monroe. She's I can't remember what year that was, but it's the famous one with her skirt flying up on the subway, above the subway line. But not that dress. There's another dress she wears that has this gorgeous neckline that crosses like an X across the chest. I have to find the pattern. 1 second, I'll be right back. In the meantime, you can check out Twiggy here. This is another, this is a really cute famous frocks book that I have. And here, I don't know if you can see. Can you see? Yeah, and it's like all the cute vintage dresses from old movies or iconic moments in history. And I think, are there patterns in here? I think they give you patterns. Yeah, there's paper patterns in here. I've never even used that. But here, let's look at Twiggy's iconic A-line dress. BRB, I'm gonna go grab a pattern. Okay, so I have this. Sorry, this was just a distraction while I was off camera. I have this pattern that I drafted a while ago after I watched that movie, The 7-Year Itch. Let me put this onto my dress form and show you what it looks like. Switching cam view. Hi. Okay. I'm gonna go on this side. Okay, so here I have marked center front CF. That's my fold. Here's a dart, which you close. When it closes like this, it gives the cup 3 dimension. Yeah. Okay, and then so this is the center front. This is the side seam, and this is going to be the strap extension, and this is your neckline. So what I'm doing here is just to check my pattern job. I am going to tack it onto my sorry, it's called a dress form, not a mannequin. Mannequins are the non-pinnable you know, the storefront displays. Those are mannequins. These are called dress forms, the ones that you tailor would work off of. And the dress form I use is here. PGM Pro is the one that I used in college, and also one I'm using currently. And what I liked about it is the price. She's like, God, I can't remember how much it was, but maybe between $300 and $500. Whereas, and the only downside is that it's not fully pinnable. Like, you can't pin straight through. You have to kind of pin at an angle. So it's a hard body with a slight fabric surface and a little bit of padding over it. But there are more, fully pinnable dress forms out there. Let me show you one. This one, for example, was my mom's one, and she has pins that go straight, all the way through. So fully pinnable actually is the better way to go if you can afford it. They're just a little more expensive. The nice ones, like my dream one, would be like Stockman, French company, or Wolf dress forms. And yeah, those are upwards of $800 to $1,000. So PGM is a slightly more affordable option, and it's what Fitum used, so I was already used to it. And so the trick to pinning on a dress form is when you are working with like paper or fabric on top of it, you want to anchor it from both directions. So you have one pin that is pushed upwards and one pin that goes downwards, and that will basically lock it in. If you only had one pin, you see how it shifts. And if you had two pins, but they were both in the same direction, it will still shift. So the trick is you gotta have them pointing towards each other, or opposite directions, Okay. The dart closes like this. I need to cut a little bit. And when we talk about cutting paper, never ever use your fabric shears. So these are my paper scissors. Let's fold this seam under. You know, I'll be honest, this dart isn't the best shape for this form. I'm gonna try something. I just basically cut a little bit deeper into the cup to be able to give more room for this dart to close. It was puckering. So there's gonna be a little bit of adjustment I have to make in the pattern. I just made the dart depth a little bit higher, and I'm gonna close it now here. Okay, that works. It's just a little pocket back here that I wanna pop out. That looks okay, considering it's paper, which is, you know, which is stiff. I think that looks okay, but I just still need to make some corrections. Here, I'm gonna tack down my neckline because that is gonna be fixed, and then my side seam. This is the armhole line that I'm following, so let's tack that down and look at where is there like gaping or bunchy paper. And like I have this whole gaping section. So removing my dart and let's go. Oh, so the reason why I wanted to pull out this fabric, this pattern, is because I drafted this pattern a long time ago after I saw that movie, and I thought it would make a very pretty minimal silk piece, but when the straps pull like this, it was actually really hard to get a nice clean silk piece in this shape. I don't think it's impossible, but you know, it was gonna take me a couple tries, and I was like, okay, I'll work on this later. But I actually think that it would be really cool in kind of a more fun and unusual fabric, and keeping this vintage shape, which is from a Marilyn Monroe dress. It's like a nice homage to her, but then a fun way to update it. So I wanted to see if this can work in the tie-dye. So that's what the cup shape will be, and it, you know, this side will mirror that, and then it has straps that can go, come on, straps that will go from this side, but let's do maybe a thin strap, so it'll be half that width. It'll go, again, I'm pinning my pin in this direction because this elastic is going to pull from this direction. It's pulling this way, I need it to tack that way. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. But, you know, I don't know actually. Are most of you in here also sewing nerds like I am? Or are you guys just kind of watching for process because it's fun? Would love to know if you guys also sew or if you're a lingerie maker too. That would be really cool to hear. Oh, thank you. Yes, love. I used to do Teach Me Tuesday videos during the pandemic, you know, when everyone had, or when I at least had more time to make content all the time. It was fun, and I actually miss doing my little teaching tutorials because the education part is so fascinating to me. Education about your craft or an art form. You know, I watched this guy who's, my friend told me about it, was a guy who restores paintings on live streams and YouTube, and it's just so soothing. So like, you know, maybe some of you are joining just because it's fun to watch a design process. And maybe some of you are here to learn. So, very cool. Okay, I'm just pinning down this strap fold over so you can see and envision kind of what it would look like. And you see it would cross back over this way. Come on, close. Pew. Yeah. How neat, right? Okay, so let's see. In this fabric, we can imagine what that's gonna look like. I wanted some gathering though. Let's see if it can gather this way and if it'll still be pretty. There's some conflicting elements here. For example, I would, you know, the gathering that we were doing earlier, I think is really pretty in general, but the thing is with this kind of like sharp neckline, which feels very more like clean lines and more modern to me, something soft and feminine like gathers and pleats. I don't know if it'll be, of course it's gonna be cute, but I don't know if it's gonna be as uniform, the vision. But also it's kind of fun when you mix weird styles together, so could be cool. Okay, I'm just unpinning real quick and bringing this back to the table. Hi everyone, if you're just joining me on Instagram, I'm also streaming on YouTube where you can get a full view of my desk and my face. So feel free to join on YouTube. Yesterday I streamed to Twitch, which I am more familiar with just because I'm also a gamer. I also like to play video games and watch video games, so I'm on Twitch more than I am on YouTube, so it was more familiar to me. And actually they have a section of like makers making crochet things, leather work, woodwork, so I thought it might be a good place to stream. But can you guys let me know if Twitch is too foreign to you, or if you're never gonna be on there, versus YouTube, which maybe is a little bit more universal. The fun thing about Twitch is it's the interactive, and the chat I think is a lot more, it's fun, and you can, it's a little bit more creative, let's say, and interactive. But you know, YouTube is, everyone knows YouTube. Everyone has a YouTube account, or I don't want to assume, but I think more people have a YouTube account than Twitch. Okay. Here, this is what it looks like. She's so pointy. I mean, obviously in fabric it's going to be less pointy, but this is about more or less where it sits with the cross. Yeah, I think let's go for it. Let's try this one. Let's try this shape. I really want to work with it. But before I commit, I'm just gonna explore maybe another fabric option. Okay, this is my new dart where it closes. Do you see how I added an extra slit? My original dart ended a 1/2 inch lower. My new apex, this is called the apex. The pointiest part of your breast is called the apex. And this is how the dart closes. So all of this fabric will get cut off or tucked in. All right. still see some people joining in. Today I am, if you're just joining, today I am working with this gorgeous tie-dye mesh tool mesh. Yeah. And this is a kind of a replica of a Marilyn Monroe dress neckline that I've converted into a bra. It's a cute little vintage style, I'd say. And I have my trims that I'm working with, which are going to be these from Shindo. And then a little stack of fashion inspiration, sketching inspiration books right here. And I've shown this one on my Insta before, but this is one of my most useful and favorite fashion books. It's a fashion dictionary, but basically all it is like an encyclopedia of fashion, haberdashery, stitches, knits, weaves, everything, jewelry. You're off, you know, what happens in like a workroom, but it translates for you in American English, in British English, and then in Japanese, which I think is funny sometimes because, for example, this tailcoat in British English, tailcoat, tails, swallow-tailed coat in American English, or teru koto in Japanese, which is literally just tailcoat but with a Japanese accent. So if we want to look at some necklines for inspiration, let me see. These are camisoles, other tops, bras, skirt types here. Knit necklines. I'm looking for like a dresses necklines page. Sleeve types, collars. Collars are kind of a fun idea in terms of like chokers and stuff that can be accessories for lingerie sets. I will explore that another day. Lapels. I used to love making menswear and jackets, and drawing them too. Lapels are like the most fun thing to draw. So I love those sections. Oh, here, I think I see some dresses coming up. Just looking to see if there's a page on necklines. No, because I don't even know what this neckline would be called. Scoop neckline with cross front straps and a closure in the back, whatever, something like that. In a way, it's almost, I would say actually it's maybe a trapeze neckline. Here. It would be like this. Okay. Trapeze neckline. So I guess a trapeze neckline is when it tapers out, like flares out at the bottom, but then is close to the neck, like actually the base of the neck here. So if I were to apply that concept, laughing at my uneven sketching. Okay, it's almost like that, but not quite. Okay, it's gonna be more like this. Scooped on the sides, cut in, This angle is very severe. This angle. Crosses in the front, this is gonna be the back, and there's some closure here. Okay, so a way that I can incorporate this beautiful cinching, or the pleating, I would say, is if we made this a sweetheart. I kind of don't want to mess, just copy, paste, you know? That's why I wish I could just do that real quick. That's why programs like Procreate on the iPad are so great. Just easy to copy paste, but this trains your muscle memory. So making that severe neckline shape, the strap across the back. Okay, here like this. Oh, but what I wanted to do, okay, so there's this version, which is version 1, and then let's try a V2. Would be dipping this down, add a little bit of cinching there. You could even do it with like a string down the center, but nah. Let's keep it cleaner than that. This minimal design is, sorry if I just started whispering to myself. I don't know if you can hear. This minimal design, I think, is actually quite gorgeous. And let's see. I'm conflicted, you know, and part of the design process is that sometimes you have to kill your darlings. You know, you're not going to be able to make everything that is going to be your precious design. You know, you have to give up some things for it to be the best that the garment can be. So as much as I love, let me switch camera view real quick again. As much as I love this Marilyn Monroe neckline, or the Gathering, for example, I'm gonna have to maybe kill one off. So let's decide together. Yeah, I get a little bit attached to my garments, you know. It's hard to say goodbye to them, so, and it's hard to kill your designs. Okay, this is gonna be the for real. I just took out all the pin. Oh, switching camera view. Okay, I just took out all the pins. We're starting again from the beginning. These are the two versions of the fabric I have. One has, one has a little bit of blue. One has mostly just pink and white. I'm gonna go with the one that has the blue in it today. Oh, hello. We have some people from Brazil joining. Nice. Yeah. Where are all you guys joining from? And yes, I will save my live feed. You know, I'm still working out some stuff with the streaming setup, and yesterday I forgot to record my stream. I'm silly. So today I hit record. It will be saved. It will be saved on YouTube, and I think the IG live will also be saved to my profile. Okay, are we doing this? I don't think so. I kind of just want to create a little bandeau that gathers in the middle, or a triangle top that gathers at the bottom. And oh, you know what? And then to incorporate a little bit of that Maryland vibe, this bra Maryland vibe that I drafted, let's do cross neck straps in the front. So that way I still can use a little bit of this design. So if that's gonna be the case, I think I'm gonna go with a bandeau. That'll be cinched here with straps that go across, and then either tie or close with this little guy at the back. Okay. So it's gonna look like this. I'm just showing an example of what the draping will look like, but I actually have a pattern already made of one of my older styles that has this shaped cup. So I will just use that for my bra. Just checking again, I'm using the correct direction. It stretches this way, not this way. And you want the stretch to go horizontally across your body, because I think this way is affected more in stretch. Unless you're doing a full bodysuit, then you need it to stretch lengthwise also. 4-way stretch is the best for stuff like that, unless you have a seam in the middle where you can have half of the garment stretching one direction and the other half stretching the other direction. Also possible. We can talk about that on a different stream next time. Oh, and feel free, you guys, if you have any questions about anything, like the tools I'm using, or if you didn't understand something that I was explaining, I'm happy to go into more detail. Okay. Pins, needing pins. And to tell you a little bit about the pins that I use, focus. They're actually, I was gonna say they're extra long, but I don't think these are the extra long ones. Yeah, these are only 1¼ inches. I usually use like 1½ to slightly longer. I think maybe like 1¾ inches or something, because long pins are so much easier to handle. You know, they usually, a lot of times they have the ball on the top, those glass ones, like, or even like these. This one, for example, there's a reason for that, because it's easy to grab them. But the other problem is that these ones with the glass tops or the little balls on it they're usually too thick for the work that I do. Here's a thinner one, but I get these ones that are called silk pins. So they're thin and very sharp and pointy, or yeah, and I have to think for a second. They're thin and pointy, and that makes it less. Actually, are they? What is the difference in the tip? I need to actually double check that, because it's either that it's extra sharp so that it won't snag your silk, or that it's a ball point so it won't snag your silk. I can't remember. If someone knows, tell me. But anyway, they're called silk pins though. If you look for them in like a haberdashery store, you'll find them. I get mine from Wawak, WAWAK, which is kind of like industry, fashion industry store, online store, where you can get threads at bulk. You can get, the cone threads, my big ones back there. You can get in bulk, and also stuff like fixtures for your retail space or your your studio. Okay, as I'm pleating it from the center front. Can you see these pins here? Yeah, so I'm pleating it from the center front, and then tacking it also down on the side here. I love this fabric. It's like watercolor. And just determining how much gathers I want in this. You know, you can go for a more dense effect, or you can go for a more see-through and loose effect. Either way, with small boobs, you really only need, how many inches of coverage is that? Like, my problem has been with bandeau bras, you know, you want it just to be like a small line across, but sometimes it covers up to your rib cage, like so low. So for this, I just need a 5 inches from top to bottom, and that would bring it to right here. I just moved my pen, so I lost my mark. But I think it was about here. The other thing that I want to achieve here is I think I want to keep the side width kind of thick. Let's see, the side seam here will be about this length, this width. And then the center front will be smaller. Cute. Okay, it's gonna be more or less like that. Pew. Perfect. So I'm actually just gonna cut from here. I usually recommend working with a sample fabric before you work with the actual fabric. But what I'm doing here is just, I'm gonna cut out the general shape of the cup, and then I'm gonna put it to the table again, and then use my pattern that I already have, which is a bandeau shape, as kind of a template, and then do the gathers. Actually, no, I'm gonna do the gathers here. I'm just gonna pin it together when we pull it off, but I'll do the cutting, like cutting the center seam and the side seam from here, from the cutting table. Okay, pleating takes a minute. Okay, any bent pins? This one is bent. Throw them away. Useless. They're not helpful, and it's just one pin. Throw them away. Hi everyone. If you're just joining today, I am kind of sharing my design process of from start to middle. I'm not gonna finish it on stream today, sorry guys. So I am just sharing my design process as I go along creating something new. You know, this is not anything that's in my shop right now, so this is just a creative experiment for this live stream thing that I'm trying out now, as a way to, like, hopefully people can learn from, and I love sharing, you know, the little tips and tricks that I've learned along the way, because I always wished that well, I love seeing the content out there that is like sewing tips, so I just want to share more of that, but a little more in depth, you know, so you can actually see my whole process, and you can ask questions if you want, and hopefully learn something. Okay, I've got it pleated. Let's see. Okay, I wonder if most people are watching on YouTube or on Instagram. I assume most of you are watching on Instagram because of because that's where my audience exists. Okay, I've pinned it. Oh, let's switch cameras. I pinned it down. Now I'm gonna cut along here. Really, guys, careful not to cut your pins. So you know, I don't even recommend doing that. Oops. I mean, just don't cut your pin. Don't cut through your pins. That's all. Because what happens? Your scissors will get bent. Your scissors blade will get bent. And if you use expensive scissors, that's a really a travesty. Okay, cool. I think I'm just missing a couple pleats in this is my center front. This is my side seam. A couple pleats in the center front. Okay. And these are not even like the most fine pleats ever made, you know, like they're pretty loose. And for me, for this fabric, I think that's acceptable because it's such a sheer kind of, the pleats will kind of fold onto each other, and that's okay. Whereas if you're making like an evening gown with where the pleating is the focal point of your bodice or something, I would make sure every one of the pleats are the same width. You're tacking, you know, kind of exactly in the same line so that it's really focused on the pleats and clean. And you know, I'm a believer in like, there's some rules, but once you know them, you can break them. And also everyone has their own method of doing things. So I may have been taught one thing, but another person who, you know, on the other side of the world can achieve the same thing doing it in a completely different way. I'm all for it. I like when people have different ways of doing things. So I'm not married to any one rule. Coming apart. The tricky thing about working with mesh or tulle specifically, and lace, you know, something with these where it has a lot of holes, is that the pins kind of just can slide out sometimes. So pinning is a little bit tricky and tedious. You know, the easiest fabrics to work with are like cotton broadcloth or muslin, something woven and stiff, and the fabric moves and stays in place when you manipulate it. It's like those are the easiest fabrics to work with, in my opinion. Things like that have a little bit of stretch, I feel like they can shift as you're cutting it, as you're sewing it, and in any part of the process, so it's a little bit trickier. Oh, I forgot. We talked about this as the closure. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen with this shape of a bandeau, because here, let's look. Let's examine. This is what my sketching process, the only sketching that I do really, is for. Oh yeah, I need to go here to make it zoom in. Closures. So if it's gonna be a design like this, or like this, say, oops, if it's gonna be designed like this, or like this, let's see, it has to probably have a closure in the back. So I'm just gonna extend this out as the wing. This is called the wing. This is your neckline, this is the strap. Okay, so the wing will be like this. And this is the back, right? The wing is the back of your... Two cam view people, you can see what I'm pointing out. It's the back of your bra. Single cam people, let me show you. Cup, band, wing. So with the wing like this, I would add a closure, maybe just a hook and eye. Hook and eye. Grabbing a hook and eye. Okay. A hook and eye closure. Like this. When the side seam of your bra is wide, like this one is like this. I think the back of the band, like the back of the bra, also needs to kind of maintain that same line. So it's gonna have a wide band in the back. With a wide band in the back, it's harder to do these closures. So I think we'll go with hook and eye. You see, things change all the time as you go along. Okay, the one thing I'm missing on my stream is a camera for my sewing setup. So I can't yet show you how this is gonna get sewn, but I'll go do my magic and then, you know, you'll see it on my stories eventually sometime. I just pulled out a couple other trims to just see. No. Very cool, but not for this. Here's like that little ruffle we talked about, you know, if you wanted to add a ruffle underneath, but I don't think it's the right color. But this kind of elastic would be a great finish for a fabric like this. Let's say if it looked nice together, you can, look at that, that's actually kind of neat. Tack it on. And this will be your finished edge. Like how easy and how cute would that be? I don't know, do you guys like it? It's kind of kooky and weird. Whee! I think I'm gonna save it for another project. This is quite pretty though. I don't know if that works. Okay. Oh. Thank you, Sivads. Sivads. This is very cool. These are these kind of weird holographic trims I got in. I got them, I think, from Japan a while ago, and I haven't yet found a use for them. You know, as I said at the beginning of the stream, I'm like obsessed with textiles, so I actually collect more textiles than I could ever use. But I love just seeing these interesting techniques, and last year when I went, I saw a lot of this, what do you call it, holographic trend happening, so that's why stuff like this exists. This is also quite nice. It's it almost looks metallic, but it's like that foil, kind of like what do you call it? See, like party supplies, foil material, but it's just in the delicate little trim, and I think it could make pretty straps. The only thing with anything like this is you have to consider what it's going to feel like on the skin, because with lingerie, as it sits so close to your body, if you have sensitive skin, you don't want to get a rash from it. So this, for example, it's way too scratchy and rough and rigid. I would not use this for anything that is going to lay directly on your skin. I would only use it as like something to be applied on top of fabric. But it would make a really cute little, set of napkins or tablecloth edging or ribbon. And I love these, the mix of colors and textures can be really fun for maybe another project, but for today, this fabric that I'm using, the tie-dye tulle mesh thing, I think the fabric itself is busy enough and is interesting enough that you don't need to add all this extra stuff to it. And it will only, in my opinion, detract from the beauty of the fabric. So to respect the fabric itself, let's keep the trims a little more subtle. And putting these away. Yesterday on my live stream, I was doing more cutting process. So my applique stuff, my Ophelia style that I'm always talking about is I was showing how to do the applique cutaway on that. And today is more of a design and theory focused stream. So I'm just talking about my process. If you're just tuning in on Instagram, I am also live on YouTube. And if you're on YouTube, you get a full view, wide angle view of my whole table. So I recommend that. Okay, I think we've narrowed in on the design. Did I not draw it yet though? I think so far I've only talked about it. Let's do a quick little sketch so we can just see visually what the F I'm talking about. Perfect. Okay, it's gonna be similar to this guy. Side seams. Let's go from here. Okay. What did I say I'm gonna do? Bandeau cinched in the front. Okay, cinching in the front. Wider at the sides. If you guys remember my strapless bra that I used to make, that's the pattern that I'm going to use for this one. It's basically like this with the bandeau, but my strapless design had an extra edge here to stabilize, so that, you know how like sometimes these strapless bandeaus can just like fly off of your boobs, like just fall down. I had it with a band, an extra band on the bottom that stabilizes the whole thing, plus gripper elastic at the top so it doesn't slip down. Anyway, I'm going to use that pattern, but just the cups portion. So it'll be this. Let's see. It's going to maybe dip a little bit on the side so that you can have a place for attaching straps. And then the straps will go. Oops. The straps will go like this. You see, I'm very slapdash with my sketches. So don't even worry if your sketches look like children's drawings. Cool. And then the back is gonna look like this. So the back, I'm not gonna add any, I wasn't gonna add any pleating, but actually I think it'll be nice just to continue the design from the front. One of the things that I always like to consider is the cohesiveness from the front to the back of a design. Sometimes you can't have it all, and it's just, you know, if you really want to preserve one kind of design on the front and then a different one on the back, you can do it, of course. Like I said, there are no rules. But in terms of like three-dimensional garments, I think it's beautiful when you can consider how it looks from the front to when you start spinning and you see the side, and then how it leads to the back. So because of that reason, for this design, I'm gonna add pleating in the back to keep this concept flowing to the back. I think if I were to not do pleating in the back, you're gonna have a side seam where the pleats go in, and then it's just flat after that. And in my head, I'm thinking you'd want the pleats to continue. So yeah, we'll do that. Also, the other thing that is gonna, I think, help the effect that it's gonna have in keeping it uniform is that the front is gonna look a little bit less sheer because of the gathering of the fabric layered on top of each other. And then I don't want the back to all of a sudden look just sheer. So the density of the fabric is going to be the same from front to back, you know what I mean? Okay, this is your back view. Back view. Oh, this is hard to write with. Back, front. Cinching. One more thing I'm considering now with this is convertibility of the straps. This design, if borrowing from that Maryland pattern, is going to be a halter back. A halter back, yeah. But if we want to make it so you can just wear it as regular straps in the back too, I need to add a place where I can convert it. So I need to add little G-hooks. But then if I think about adding G-hooks to such a light material fabric, I might need a stabilizer to make my tool heavier. So many things to consider. So what I'm thinking right now is how I can avoid using hardware. Extra hardware. You can do things like straps that tie, but I think in general that's not so practical. A lot of people don't love fussing with extra strings from your straps. I can do the smaller G-hooks. They're a little bit lighter weight. They're still metal though. We could consider plastic G-hooks, but then I don't really love the quality of plastic G-hooks. And how else can we do the straps? Let me think about it. If they can go straight back too would be nice. But again, is this a situation of having to kill one of my ideas? Because it's just not gonna work. It's like, make up your mind. Okay. The one thing is that the straps are typically the last thing you attach to your garment. The straps and the closures, so I have some time to think about it. This is gonna be the piece that I have to work with. I'm just gonna put it back on the form so we can see where we left off. Side view. kind of has this 80s vibe I don't know, it reminds me of my mom's like 90s bikinis or something. Hey, Coco. The dog's just there. She's chilling. Oh, not my dog. I wish I had a dog. It's not my dog. I'm dog sitting for a friend. And she knows I'm talking about. She knows I'm talking about her. Do you want to come say hi, Coco? Come here. Oh, yeah. Okay. Lucky you guys get to see Coco today. She's only gonna be here till today, so this is your last time to say what's up on stream. You know. Anyway, she weighs like 5 pounds. She's so tiny. Okay. Go on. Okay. Oh yeah, I was gonna show you on the dress form view. Watch out, Coco, on YouTube. I wish you could see a little bit more the detail of what it looks like pleated. I think I'll take a picture and show you on my stories later. Okay, do we want this bit to curve up? So it's really like tapered to the center front. The puppy fashion collab we crave. Yes. Airy Berry, this is fabric that you gave me. I love it so much. It's so pretty. This like very watercolory tie-dye. You know, making a little bra out of it. But let me grab my straps right here. Okay, I think looking at this now, this color is too strong for that. Let's try something more subtle. More monochromatic. That's kind of pretty. Okay, look at the position. See, the thing about this pattern, the Maryland top pattern that I drafted, is the straps really just start from like, it starts from an odd place, which is almost here, you know, and then it makes a nice tight X that goes, so you just have a little key. Maybe it's also considered a keyhole, sort of, this shape. So it works well on this, you know, doing the cross strap. Let's see if that's gonna translate. Stuck? Yeah, stuck. Pew. Let's go like this. Okay. Yeah, see, it's just missing something. I love how tight the neckline is on this one, you know? Okay, so let's see if we were to convert this. Since it's not cut, I can still just pull it up, release two or three pleats, releasing a pleat from the side. So, if I were to adjust it to have that Maryland neckline, it would be like this. Cutting here, cutting down this section basically. Wait, I can't do this while I'm looking at my stream. Okay, cutting down this section. I just need this lip right here, which is going to be this strap attachment. This side seam will get scooped. So let me show you with pins what this style line will look like. I think it goes kind of high up all the way to about here, a little bit more center front than, more towards center front than this princess line. This, can you see this seam? Yeah, this seam is called the princess seam, princess line, princess seam. This seam here is your center front seam, and this is the waist. Okay, just tucking this in for shape. Okay, that's kind of cool. I actually kind of like this. Does it work with pleating? I think what happens now is actually the pleating needs to go into this direction. They need to, if I were to preserve this line from the strap to the armhole here, with having this kind of point, the pleating would be prettier if it came kind of fans out from the bottom, like grow like this, versus growing like that. So this way. It's possible to change. We can do it later. We don't have to do it now. Okay, I'm thinking if this is the way the strap's gonna be, it's not gonna be convertible, because I don't know about a straight back strap starting so close to your neck. Like, it'd be like that. What happens then is, I mean, you know, I keep saying there are no rules, but to me, it's gonna make it just looks like it's sitting at the wrong spot. I think if you're going straight up and down straps, they should be just here, you know, or if they're wide set, they're like here. But this is kind of gonna be too close to your neck. Now, if it's a halter, that looks okay. It opens up this shape. How cute, actually. Okay, so we can do it this way. We can do it this way. Maybe that's enough for convertibility. All right. So I'm just marking up my new neckline. And then I think I'm gonna cut the other half and then do a quick sew, which I have to do off camera. But of course I will post to my stories. And this was kind of just a creative break for me. I have still orders to fulfill today, so I'm gonna try to work on this a little bit more later. But we got a good start, and how fun was that to just play around with some fabric and color today. Okay, so I'm just winding down here. First of all, I want to thank everyone for joining today on YouTube and on Instagram. I didn't do a Twitch stream today, even though I know I had all my links for my Twitch from yesterday up. But as I said, I'm still testing some stuff, figuring out what is best for my audience, what's best for me, and you know, my format of my stream. So would love to hear any feedback if you guys have. And thank you so much for joining me today. I'm gonna continue a little bit with this, just see if I can, like, you know, get one cup completed, and maybe I'll cut the other half just real quick right now. And just to have an idea of what it looks like. I'm not gonna finish it today, since I still have to pack and stuff. So I'm not gonna finish it, but I'll post as I'm working on it on my stories on Instagram. And I would love to hear if you guys have any topic suggestions. Someone else asked me for, actually, it was for lace placement techniques or examples of lace placement for lingerie. And I thought that was a great topic because lace, you know, that is something I consider all the time and think about, especially when I do work like this. I'm like, okay, where's the best, most beautiful place for the lace to be placed? Especially on the cup, you know, how much coverage do you want? How much sheer do you want? But if you guys have any other topics you want to hear about, or you know, suggestions, I'm super open. I'm just here to share my creative process, so please let me know. Leave me some feedback in my stream videos. I'm gonna post, actually I need to check how to save this video and post it on YouTube. I hope it just gets saved automatically. But you will see the Instagram live get saved in a few minutes. It just takes a minute to kind of download and then repost. So you'll see that up there shortly. And yeah, this is what we got for today. Yeah. Oh, it's kind of cool with blue underneath too. Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you everyone for joining me today, and I will see you next time.